When it comes to planning a retreat, there's ways to get it to go from average to incredibly transformative. Welcome to Retreat Boss, where we speak about inspired travel for fun, transformation, and profit. Guest experts will give you their tips and tricks on creating the most impactful retreats, both for you and your clients. Whether you want a meditative getaway, a wellness trip, or a business escapade, we provide you with the best advice in organizing and hosting a tremendous event. Join Catherine Kontos as she talks with fellow experts about creating exclusive and successful retreats. Dive deep into the most unique activities, the best destinations to visit, and the most uplifting trips out there that you can discover. Here is your host, Catherine Kontos. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we have Sun Choi, who is an energy coach, TEDx speaker, and Forbes author committed to elevating humanity's consciousness through guiding high-achieving, creative, conscious coaches, consultants, and business leaders to find peace in the chaos, master their energy habits, and embody their brilliance. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you. So great to be here.
We met recently, Anna, and I think you're just like this bubble of positive energy. And I'm really impressed with everything you've done up until now. Like your bio is a lot longer than what I just said, and it's hugely impressive. So I'm very happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
So, Anna, tell us about where your journey started. Who's Anna? What's your story? And what brought you into this field of energy?
Yes. So when I was a broke art major, I started my first business as a financial advisor, of all things. And by 25, I grossed 6 figures and was doing well, but I was totally exhausted and burned out. And I remember collapsing in a leather chair in my office and thinking, I'm in my early 20s and I'm already exhausted. How's that going to work? So I ended up selling my practice to start a family and water birthed my son. And yes, that's a whole
other story, another podcast.
Yeah, no drugs or nothing. So
yeah, wild. Wow.
And, really pursued what made my heart happy. And then again, got into I was a single mom for a while, but that wasn't it after 2.5 years. So my husband quit his, job full time to be a stay-at-home dad. And I went back into the workforce, but now, I've got like a house and a spouse and a kid to support as the breadwinner. So launched the second business, an event consulting for social impact. And that's like when I was in the TEDx world for a while as an organizer, actually. But anyway, so that I eventually landed in the tech industry and was working with companies like Google and all these other tech startups, and was running the equivalent of 4 weddings at the same time on different timelines, which was stressful. And on the outside, it looked really good benefits, good money, good all that, but again, it was a little soulless, and I didn't care about. It wasn't aligned with my mission to elevate consciousness. It was about filling the tech talent gap, So I pivoted to my current business now, conscious coaching, and really being able to, what you just beautifully said, help people embody their brilliance. And how do you grow in flow versus burnout? How do you, burnout, embody your brilliance and, magnify your presence. So that's where I am now.
And it sounds like you have this way of you were supercharged in your energy, right? To the point where you broke, okay, right? You had a breakdown where you were just finished, burnt out with all of that. I guess through these experience, you learned where your limits are and where you shouldn't go. You shouldn't really go to that limit, right? We try to avoid that. Mm-mm. So I guess this was your journey as to finding what you're doing right now, which is energy flow. Mm-hmm. Because you do have that capability of overdoing it, obviously from your background of what has happened, right? Because you do have the capability of having that energy. Not everybody has that type of energy like you have. So you can overextend yourself. And it makes sense that you're in this world right now because you learned, the hard way of like overdoing that excessive energy that you do have inside you. So what is it that you train yourself and others to do when for them not to get to that point and be more in the flow and balance of the energy? Of course, it's going to go up and down, but not to reach those peaks.
It's a great question. I will say specifically, this is to all you listeners who are the high achievers, Renaissance souls. You're kind of naturally good at a lot of things. Has that tendency, right? I find people are on the spectrum of the high achiever or the can't quite get into action.
Right.
There's not a lot of middle. So what I'll say will apply to both and the spectrum, but I'm going to speak a little bit more to the high achievers, is to really go within and look at what I like to call it yin within, but go within and ask yourself the source. What's the root cause of why you're even driving yourself? And what I found out and continue finding out and always unfolds, this a lifelong journey, exploration, is usually it's like some ego-based desire. And so even most recently with the pandemic, I could still, everybody was now, a lot of people remote working, and still it's not like they chilled out in their non-commute hours. They just worked more or the hours extended. I mean, I hear this so much with around the world. So they're getting up early and working, late working, and there's like a weird middle period and depending on your time zone. So this is another pattern, people would, okay, I got to write that song, write that book. Like they have to now do another project. And so they're just overworking in a different way. And, you hear so much about give. But I see that a lot, and it becomes like the sacrificial martyrdom. Also, to just, whether you're on a board for nonprofit or doing any sort of pro bono type of stuff. So there's many ways that the overworking can happen. And if you get to the source and go within to understand why, and more importantly, what's driving it, typically there's 3 desires at play. Either it's the desire for safety, like if I don't do this, I'm going to go be homeless. Right. Or if I don't do this, do or die kind of feeling. Number 2 is the desire for recognition. And this is not like selfies on Facebook, but this is about being liked, approved, loved. And we will go to a far end of overworking to get that. Or number 3, so we've got recognition, safety, and then control. That's a big one. So we work to make sure things are just in place, especially with business leaders as well, to meet those metrics or numbers we've arbitrarily set or not. And we get ourselves in this mode, which isn't bad. And obviously we need that, what I call yang energy with the yin. We're just a little overbalanced, or a lot, with the yang. So we kind of have to swing far to get to the yin to be able to even balance out.
Right. And I find one of the stressful things that can happen when you're trying to find this balance is trying to keep that balance can also be very stressful, because sometimes in life, energy has to go more in one way. You understand, during a crisis, during a deadline at work, right? But and people are like, oh, I'm out of balance, and that could actually cause them stress. But you need to actually be out of balance for a little bit to achieve that goal, whatever it is at that moment, right? Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, it's a myth. Balance is a total myth. It's something that takes work, but if I always imagine a ball with like a lever, and it's, it takes work to keep it centered and balanced, right? But it's never just static there. That's a lie. That's the myth. And so the question is not how to be balanced, but how do I be 100% present with what I'm doing, whether it's on one side or the other. So normally we are on vacation and thinking about work. We're not 100% relaxing.
Yeah.
Or we're working and beating ourselves up for not relaxing more or something, right? Mine's past or future. So the more we can stay present, that'll actually cause the balance. But the reality is it's kind of that spectrum. We're always oscillating. And how quickly can we make, instead of huge volatility, perhaps we can work on, a little smoother volatility by consciously raising our awareness in whatever present moment we're in to a higher frequency.
Yeah. Well, I find it's very important when being a leader, whether you're a leader at a retreat, leading a retreat, or you're in a company or leading whatever it may be. It's very important for that energy to be aligned at the moment of the leadership. Let's say you have some type of meeting or whatever it is, because that energy feeds off to the group. So what do you do when something goes off in the group? Maybe a client or a colleague that is just, creating a negative energy, which is impacting you, which in turn impacts the group, or is impacting the group. And then in turn, it's a vicious circle, right? And it could be a beautiful circle. So how do we turn it from a vicious, bad circle to a good, balanced circle where we're actually thriving instead of just trying to control or trying to be safe or we're trying to avoid those types of leadership roles. What do you suggest in taking that type of energy and switching it to becoming now positive and flowy and all of that?
Oh, there's so much here. So the lawyer answer, right? It depends on the situation. If you have to cover a particular amount of material, let's say, because there's some sort of consequence, this is, I would think, more in a corporate America situation, but I think that's what we normally see is a facilitator that's willing to say, hey, thank you so much, for what you're contributing. Maybe it's someone like going off about something.
Right.
We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to share. Why don't we table that? Let's talk on the break. Or who here can help this person? I always love outsourcing, crowdsourcing, phone a friend. And who will be a buddy? Awesome. Okay, guys, why don't you on the break discuss that, and let's hear it when you get back how you resolved it. So you can just if you need to be in that kind of move on mode because you want to deliver some sort of objective in a particular amount of time that you promised would happen. But if you have some more freedom and the objective is more about bonding as a group and less about content material to get through, then you gotta embrace it, baby. It's like a super moment for a super bonding moment. And it's a tenuous line because if you don't do it right, it could turn off a lot of people that don't come back. Because they're like, oh, why didn't she, put more boundaries? But if there's enough trust in the group, which is, on a retreat, that's normally what you're cultivating, this is a golden opportunity. And how you respond as the leader, facilitator, I like to say facilitator because you're really just creating a space versus didactically telling someone something, is you have 100%, I don't want to say control, but you have 100% context creation of how you're going to frame it for others. So if you're annoyed by the person, everyone will be annoyed. But if you're like genuinely just, you might have, oh God, this is annoying, this is long, as a thought, and then you're like, okay, and you let that thought pass, and you center into your heart and just love them, have compassion and empathy, guess what shows up in the room? And in that, if there's active listening that you set up properly at the start of any sort of program, not just a confidentiality container, but like hey, there's active listening 100%, and there's like passive listening. Like, what can I get from this? Versus, what's the gold? Even in the crappiest thing, someone says, what's the gold? And if everyone's listening that way, oh my gosh, what comes out of that person's mouth, even if they're like cronky, is like brilliant. So it's in the listening. So basically create your listening through your intention, and that'll ripple out.
It is a teaching opportunity, at that point, because not everything always goes smooth. We're dynamic people, right? And when we're in a group of people, maybe not everybody's gonna be loving of each other. There might be some conflictual personalities. It might even be with the leader, with you, So the thing is not to take it personally. And this is my motto in life when it comes to interrelations, like if there's an issue with somebody, like I'm seeing something going on in somebody that's angry, that's come from a place of anger or a place of whatever it may be, and I've done nothing to, exacerbate that type of behavior, I think to myself, well, something's going on with them. I can't take this personally. I'll just, love them and try to deal with and see if I can help them in some way get past this little stage that they're going through. And I love how you're like, it depends on the situation, because it really does depend. If it's like a business situation, yeah, let them, we could deal with this after. And you see that's what's good about you being in both industries, where it was very business finance. Like it doesn't get more business oriented than that, like hardcore, like, and then going into the complete opposite of like love, heal, transform, so both spectrums of what how to deal with people, and that's what makes you great. For me, like I find people that are multi-talented like yourself can tune into whatever they need to. It's like a little library in your head and your soul, where you're like, oh, I've been there, I know how to deal with this, let's take out that file, right? So amazing, amazing. Do you have any energy kind of techniques that you would implement either at a corporate retreat? It could be different, right? Implement in a corporate retreat or even in a transformational retreat to get them in the zone of their energy field.
I'm like, we could talk a year on this. So I'm like, what kind of energy techniques? Let's hone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Something physical, or just to get, like, would it be at the start of something or to in the middle to get them round up?
Well, look, let's put you in a situation. You have 7 days with, the same people, a group of 10. Okay. And you're trying to your goal for your transformational retreat is to get them to learn how to always go back to their core of who they are. Right. And like that kind of thing, like what techniques, is it embodiment? Is it like, what techniques would you use on a daily basis, on a routine basis, like every morning you would wake up and do what with them? And then how would you realign their energy at the end of the day? Like what would be the daily routine of something like that?
Gotcha. So that's a huge question, but what is a nice framework? I can start there. And then each of the steps have different kind of short tips and exercises to do in between, is what I've created called the A.L.I.V.E approach. And it's an acronym, A.L.I.V.E. So it's 5 steps, and not in chronological order necessarily, but they're more principles. So A is, how do you allow more yin to your yang? And typically this is about rhythm and flows. So from a macro picture of, are you, taking at least a week off per quarter is my recommendation, all the way down to each day. Are you taking sufficient personal time to be in the soul first? And then it also refers to just the energy. If you're always like, go, 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 kind of harder energy, more masculine, how do you yin energy, allowing more yin, is where you just maybe listen more, or you are still more, or you let yourself do nothing. You give more buffer times between meetings. So there's a lot of yin energy things you can do throughout the day. The second is listening within. And this is learning to master the voices in your head and which ones to trust or not. Which ones do you let flow because it's just the ego, fear-based kind of thought, or which ones that are really quiet, sometimes a whisper, that you give more power to. And the more that you can listen to that intuition, to your soul's voice, the more you can live a life aligned, true to yourself, to your whole, as you were saying. And then the I is inspire soul first. And this is about that morning routine. The first thing that you do. Is it check the news in your email on Alexa? Or do you read something? Like, what are you feeding your brain or not, right? I meditate the first thing when I wake up, which I recommend for anyone. But a lot of people don't know how to do that yet. So easy steps, go outside. Whatever's going to connect you to your soul. Some people like to work out, but they're still like scheming as they're running or masculine mode. So unless you can just clear out and it's something that gets you centered in your core, it's not about the activity, but the intention that it gives you. Does it connect you to your soul? Inspire soul first. And then the V is valuing your fears. And I used to have it called vanquishing your fears until I realized, wait, your fears are like little children, as my music teacher would say. You just tuck them under your wing. And that's all around. How do you, when you get triggered, how do you let it flow through energetically, or like this, versus hold it down, suppress, fix, overcome, resist? How do you flow, right? So I have lots of exercises around that. And then E is energize, the last one, your daily flow. And this is literally about moving, mindful meditation, like movements. So 8 hours a day, we're like this mostly.
Right.
So bad on the body and the spine. And if we can, I can do a quick, this is a podcast. I'm not going to listen, I can't see as much. But audioly, I can say, like, if you right now suck your belly button into your spine, and then don't worry about how you're breathing for now, you just pump it kind of like a crunch sitting up.
Okay.
And if you keep doing that, even right now as I'm talking, even just after like 5 or 10 pumps, it gets, are you feeling the heat? It gets pretty hot.
Yeah.
What I love about this one is you can do it incognito while you're driving at the checkout stand, on a Zoom call. You can be exercising while you're on Zoom.
Yeah.
And what happens is, our guts, like, lots of science around it being like our second brain with the number of mirror neurons and the serotonin and dopamine produced. So our organs, we don't exercise much, are internal, but that's like where all the emotions and the crap get stuck. So you want to be able to, this is one of, you can do calf raises or push-ups too for the E of energize your daily flow. But the point is continuously moving somehow.
Amazing. I love your A.L.I.V.E. That's a great way to just, tune in, listen. And, like when you say, one of the things that stood out for me is, because I always say it, like the first thing you do in the morning sets you up for the rest of the day, including, right? We know it about food. I've eaten like a cake in the morning, and then all I do is crave cake all day long, right? Not cake, but like sugary. I want carbs and sugar. And it's almost like, it's crazy how our behavior just is like more. Where if I start with, I don't know, like, eggs and something a little less sugary and more protein based, everything is sort of like slows down and not as hungry. I stretch it out a little longer because I'm not. And it's the same thing with the mind. If you're going on, because it's very easy, right? The phone's next to you, you pick it up. Oh, what's happening on Facebook, emails, and you're already like running before you've even gotten out of bed. And that sets up your day. So thank you for that. You know what? I will practice all that. I'll keep going A.L.I.V.E. Okay, let's go with the acronym and follow that routine.
There's a book coming out about it, so you can
yes,
a copy of it there.
Amazing. It's going to be called A.L.I.V.E. or is it okay?
It's A.L.I.V.E., yeah.
Amazing. Okay, good. When do you see it coming out?
It's probably a year. We just signed on with the publisher. I finished the draft, but editing will take a while.
Okay. You know what? Make sure I know I'm gonna be informed when it does come out, and I'll be happy to like extend it to my friend base and whoever else is there to read it. Amazing. So what's in the future besides the book for you? What's coming up? Is there anything that you want to like announce or let us know in case there's people that want to learn more from you and follow you? Let us know. What is it? Anything?
Yeah. So 2/22/22.
Big number.
Portal. Yeah. Vortex. I'm doing a little like an A.L.I.V.E. party and micro concert.
Wow. Okay.
You gotta come. It's free, and it's sharing some excerpts from the book A.L.I.V.E., but also I'll sing a song. It's kind of a multimedia experience. And that's going to kickstart, starting in March, our Mighty Network community group for conscious leaders.
So this is an online event, right?
Yes.
Okay. Continue.
Zoom. Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of announces things, which we'll also share about starting in March, our soul community launch as well. And we've had a community group for a while, but this is a place for people. I just imagine like this council of conscious leaders, really creating what's next together in this safe container where you are free to really explore your creativity in a way that normally you wouldn't. So I'm thinking there's music jam sessions, there'll be courses as well, but the meetups are going to be a little more creative than normal. Maybe we'll cook together. We can let the community decide some of the ways that they'll creatively, consciously connect, but go on nature, take hikes. It's all virtual, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So you're taking it because, initially when you first started this podcast, you said how you're trying to get people off of the, grind of being on Zoom and online all the time to moving and realigning their energy. And you're bringing it to the next level with this event. This is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's not getting on Zoom because obviously we have to be online in some way, but it's about how you're engaging online.
Exactly.
Right? So if everyone, imagine this, right? Got their phone little selfie sticks poised in their kitchens and we're all just cooking together and kind of talking and chatting. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You're not like staring at the screen, you're cooking and enjoying and sharing. Yeah. Look at this, especially for all my foodies out there. But
lovely.
Or jamming together.
Yeah.
To work out acoustics. But you can still share audio sound in a way that other people can hear it well. There's lots of
technology is always like a little surprise sometimes. You think you've got it all figured out and then suddenly something happens and you're like, I'm not connecting, or whatever it is, my voice can't be heard properly.
I know, you're like and they're like off mute, unmute, the most used phrase. Right?
Exactly. Where can people reach you? Where can they find you online? Or
they just go to my website, www.annasunchoi.com.
Will your book be promoted on there?
Yes, and I can also give a URL link that goes directly there for the launch party and then get updates about the book.
Perfect. Anna, thank you so much for being part of our podcast today. Energy is super important in a retreat in every aspect, for the solo, for the group, for everybody. So it's very interesting, especially for the leaders, on how to kind of navigate that whole situation of the energy flow of the group. So I really appreciate having you here today and taking the time from your schedule to be with us. Thanks a lot. I wish you lots of luck and prosperity and all of that with your upcoming book and all of your events and coaching and everything that you have planned for this year.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Retreat Boss podcast. When it comes to achieving wellness and transformation, nothing is more effective and profound than a well-orchestrated retreat. Achieve huge revenue growth, one trip at a time. Want to learn more on expanding your business with retreats? Visit retreatboss.com, when profitable retreats are made easy. Be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show at retreatboss.com/podcast. Until next time, take care.